We're back. On this episode of Living a French Life, we're going to start the kitchen reveal.
Honey, can you remember what this space looked like when we first saw it? I think it was October 2021. It wasn't
No,
really...
we saw it. No, I think, is that when the first time we saw it?
No, you're right. It was October 2020.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, it did not look like this.
No, there was piles of furniture over there, and yeah.
We've got pictures.
Yeah, we do have pictures. We don't have pictures of it in that first viewing because they weren't expecting anybody to come and see the place.
That's true.
And they had all the old furniture. Well, there still was the old furniture by the time we moved in.
Yeah, there was.
But the sink was all blocked up and you couldn't see anything. And
That's right. And we had the staircase ran down the center here.
Yes.
And moving that was really key in the layout we have now.
Oh, and the way the contour looked, because you're getting a little peek of that behind us right now.
Yes. We wanted to save as much of the historical detail as we could.
Yeah, and then any kind of additions that we make to it, to the house, we make sure that it feels like it belongs.
Right, exactly. And some things we couldn't save because how many times did you go through the floor after we sanded it?
Yeah.
We couldn't keep the floor.
No.
We tried real hard, so we put down some beautiful natural poplar and just let it be what it was going to be. Mm-hmm. That was really good. And the kitchen, when you walk into the front door, you walk right into the kitchen, and I didn't want it to feel like you just walked into my kitchen. Right?
Yeah, we don't have an entryway,
No.
a foyer.
No, we don't. So I wanted there to at least be that moment pause where someone would walk in, hopefully feel the vibe, which is supposed to be warm and rustic and a little bit elegant, and then say, hey, this is the kitchen. So in order to do that, we had to tuck away some modern conveniences like the refrigerator.
Yeah.
I mean, it just takes a moment, and then you realize, oh yeah, this is the kitchen.
Right.
But I like that moment, that space.
We had a budget for the kitchen. If you're going to do just a kind of a facelift on a kitchen, you can expect to spend 20 grand.
Or more.
Yeah. And if you're going to do something like, move a wall or add
windows.
I mean, the sky is
add
the limit.
Water, add electric.
Well, that's true. We were starting from zero.
So what is that budget normally?
Yeah. Well, that's a brand new kitchen. That's $100 grand.
At least.
In a house. And this is a pretty good sized kitchen. It's not huge, but
No.
it's certainly not
Yes.
a galley style
Yes.
kitchen or anything like that.
And you know what our budget was?
Yeah.
Okay, this is our budget. Our budget. This is a true budget.
Honest.
This isn't one of those things where someone says, I only have $18,000 to redo this kitchen, and then they spend,
$150,000.
Right.
Yeah.
Nope. We had 1,500 euros, which is approximately $1,800.
Well, now it's $1,800, and back then it might have been $1,800.
Okay,
For a little while there, it was almost the same.
Yeah, not anymore. But we had 1,500 euros as our budget, and that included everything, except we did not include the budget for the kitchen for our wood cook stove, because that was under the budget for mechanicals, because it's also the heating source for our house. And it didn't include the window and the door, because that was part of our exterior budget. But everything else that you would put into a kitchen, appliances, countertops, cabinetry, plumbing, electric, flooring,
Plaster, paint.
all of that, and we came in just a little under budget. Just a little under budget.
We'll go over that when we do the full reveal of
Yeah,
the
we'll
kitchen.
tell you exactly how much we spent and where we spent it, because I think that's rather interesting.
Oh, here's Mochi.
Yeah, this is Mochi.
He's our old man cat.
Yeah, he's 17. We are a cat house now. Yes.
Well, today our big portion of the reveal is going to be our pantry.
we're going to show them the pantry. We're going to show them the pantry. Let's go take a look. A pantry is a really important item to have in your kitchen. First of all, it can add a bit of style and character. It can be really a showcase if you find a beautiful freestanding armoire, which is what we did. It wasn't too beautiful. It was old and not old enough. It's still in its phase. It's been painted, but something else might happen to it at some point. But find some freestanding feature that you can use. If you have a bigger pantry, ours is pretty small, then you can use it to house clutter you don't want to see in your kitchen. You can put your small appliances into your pantry. You can create a coffee station in your pantry. It's a really useful tool. It's great to have everything you need right there organized.
So you remember that wardrobe we showed you that Karen's been painting and it was all in pieces over in the back room? Well, we're going to put it together and then turn that into a pantry, a larder, and a refrigerator box. I know, the floor's not done yet, but there's enough of it done that we can do this. The wardrobe is what's called a knockdown wardrobe, meaning it can come apart into pieces for easy moving. It's held together by these fancy little screws that kind of, you have to screw them in and then you have to use a little tool to turn them, which of course I'm going to break the rule. You're supposed to use the right tool. I don't even know if there is a right tool, so I'm going to use an old drill bit. There's little recessed areas in the panels, and so you've got your little peg that's holding it down on here, and then this little weird shaped thing goes underneath there and forms to the recess, and it pulls it in tight. It's a weird little system, but it does the job. You know, after you do this about a dozen times, you get really good at it. All right, that ought to do it. This side's going to be the refrigerator over here. This side, which is wide open at the moment, is going to be the coffee station, the shelves for the spices, a bunch of other little shelves for things, place to put our bottles of pastis. Yes, exactly. And so that's what we're up to. So now the space is not quite what we need it to be because for two reasons. One, we've got this piece of marble here, looks better on the other side. And that is kind of our limiting factor. So I am going to build out the rest of the armoire so that the marble piece fits right in and all the shelves work magically. This space over here is kind of a dead space anyhow because of the way the door is. So that's where we're at. I've cut all these boards to be the proper length. I've worked out my pattern of how I want these to go in the back. Karen wanted something very prominent in the middle, and so I've laid the rest of them out so that they are, it's a nice balanced spread, and here we go.
Armoire saga. So I painted my 2 coats of paint, and I'm using this Fusion mineral paint. I am not a affiliate with this company. I just really am enjoying this paint, especially for like kitchen cabinets or things that are going to get a lot of wear, because once it's cured, man, this stuff is like iron. So I'm really pleased with that. And so now I'm kind of going over and doing some touch-up work. I'm working on the inside of the door right now and making sure it's prepped and ready so that Tim will be able to put in his spice rack. And we still got a couple more coats to go on the shelves. The shelves will go in, and I think it's really looking great. I still need to do another coat on the bottom and do a protective top coat. But this side of the armoire is really rocking. We've got this beautiful little piece of marble, and I'm so pleased with how the paint color for the interior is working with the marble. And Tim will put into the comments the names of the paint, both for the exterior and the interior, in case you're interested in that. But this little piece of marble was €5, which is $5 right now. And we picked it up at our little local charity shop, and it's perfect. It has, okay, well, it's not perfect. It's got this little chigger bite out right there, which I might look into getting a little patch kit for marble and fixing that. But the color's wonderful. The cost was so much less than if we would have had a custom piece done. And the size of it was almost right, but not quite. So Tim really took his time and created a bit of a false wall on the side so that the marble would fit perfectly. The inside part, this wonderful old beadboard, came from my cousin's mother's house, and it was stored in the cellar for I don't know how long, and so there's a bit of memory infused in that. Thankful to have been given that and repurposing it for the inside of the larder. I think that's about all. Tim found these great pieces of brass rod at the same place we got the marble from, and he's going to use those both in the spice rack and then adding a little detail to the bottom of the shelf in the back. So maybe I can put some little brass S-hooks on that, and we'll see what was going to hang there. I'm really just loving how it's all coming together. Here's what ours looks like. Here's our pantry. And one of the things you'll notice about the pantry is that I designed it to use a lot of different types of storage. So obviously we have the shelves, but I hung a brass rod so we had a place for the coffee mugs. I had Tim make a beautiful spice rack for me. I fell in love with the one that Duval Kitchens in England has. I loved it, but it was not in budget. In fact, it would have cost a third of the budget. So Tim made that from scraps we had left over from the flooring. We also put electric in and a motion light, so you receive a little bit of light here. We were able to hide the kettle away, and I have dry storage for my dry goods behind me, which you'll get to see at a later date. But we have some drawers that came with the Armoire, and I put soup mixes in there. And there you go. It really has been a valuable part of the kitchen. And on the other side, I can't believe I'm going to show you this, but it's our refrigerator. So there you go. We were able to tuck the refrigerator in and have a space for our pantry. I love it. I love it. Whenever you're remodeling or doing a restoration, especially of a kitchen, it's going to take time.
Yeah, I always think about things in threes, and you've got time, money, quality, and you're only going to get two.
So money was decided for us, and I had to pick out of the other two, and I chose quality. I really wanted things to feel like they've been a part of this space in some way, and I wanted to have things be bespoke. And bespoke usually costs a lot of money, but fortunately I have a handy-dandy husband who makes beautiful things like that spice rack.
Yeah, Karen's very kind. She often calls me a master carpenter.
Yes.
I'm not a master carpenter. I'm a journeyman carpenter.
There you go. There you go. But, really in the end, what's going to make a space, especially a kitchen, is when you start adding those objects that are special to you. Maybe it's a beautiful French copper casserole or your grandmother's batter bowl, artwork. I think it's really important to include artwork in a kitchen because it just elevates it. It gives it a character that countertops aren't going to do.
And here's the great thing. Karen had all that stuff in boxes
Oh,
that
yes.
we've hauled from all over the world.
Yes, and I continue to find, and that also takes time. So wanting to use sort of freestanding furniture, it's just going to take time to find them at the right price point.
That's correct. Join us next time on Living a French Life.
À la prochaine fois.
It's a pretty clean morning,
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
and I'm about to fly.